Hello students, welcome to Power Classes. So today we will discussing about exercise 1.2 of first chapter. So what is the topics of this exercise is rational and irrational numbers. So what are rational numbers? So any rational number is a number which can be written in a p by q form, that is for example 3 by 2 or 5 by 6 and so on. Whereas irrational numbers are the numbers which cannot be written in p by q form. For example, we doesn't have a specific value for root 2, whereas for root 4 we have a value which is 2, whereas for root 9 it is 3. Whereas in between, that is root 5, root 6 and root 7, this doesn't have any specific value. So it's the number which cannot be written in p by q form, at the same time which doesn't have any specific value, will be coming as irrational number. So let's go to the exercise questions. So here it is asking that prove root 5 is irrational. We know root 5 is irrational number, but we have to prove it with respect to the question. So for any such questions, what you have to do is first we need to assume and contrary that root 5 is rational number, that is which can be written in p by q form, whereas p and q are coprimes. Coprimes are the numbers which doesn't have a common factor. So if you do cross multiplication, we'll get q into root 5 equal to p, then again squaring on both sides, we'll get q square into 5 equal to p square, again stating p square is divisible by 5. So here you can see that p square is divisible by 5. As for the maths theorem, we say that if p square is divisible by 5, then p is also divisible by 5. For example, let's check it. If 9 is divisible by 3, then 9 is nothing but 3 square. So 3 is also divisible by 3. So in the same way, here you can see that p square is divisible by 5. So we can conclude that p is also divisible by 5. So now replace p as 5a, which is a product of sum x into 5. So it will become q square into 5 equal to p in terms, we will replace it as 5a, then 5s square. Now cancelling 5 with 25, then 5 is 25, then again q square will be coming at 5s square. Now as again the same method, like q square is divisible by 5, so q is also divisible by 5. So let's consider q as 5b. So indicating, but now we can see that q is also having a factor of 5, whereas p is also having a factor of 5, which is against our assumption, because our assumption is p and q should be coprimes. So our main assumption, that is the root 5 considering it as rational, is wrong. So indirectly we can say that our assumption is wrong, so root 5 is not rational. So if it is 3 marks or 5 marks question, definitely you need to mention all these points. If it is 1 mark, then you can directly say that root 5 doesn't have value, because root 4 is coming, whereas root 5 doesn't have specific value. If a number doesn't have a specific value, then it becomes irrational number. Let's go to the second question. Here also similar way, here it is showing that 1 by root 2 is rational. As per our rational numbers policy, properties, so if any rational number, for suppose it is root 2 is rational number. So 1 by root 2 or any product of root 2 or any addition of root 2 or subtraction of root 2, all this becomes irrational numbers. But if they ask to prove it like a 3 to 4 marks question, then we need to consider it as reverse way, like consider it as first as rational, then prove it is not rational, then definitely it will become irrational. So here also same way, so 1 by root 2 will consider it as p by q, as I mentioned p by q is coprimes, and again q is equal to root 2p by using cross multiplication method, then root 2 equal to q by p, and here, but as we know the root 2 is not rational, so q by p cannot be considered as a rational number, that is our assumption is wrong, so we can say that 1 by root 2 is irrational. Same way for x, 6 plus root 12, the same method, example assume 6 plus root is rational and so on, and again cross multiplication and on, and we can see that root 2 will become p by q minus 6, but as we know that root 2 is irrational, stating our assumption is wrong, so 6 plus root 2 is irrational. If they ask this for 5 marks or 6 marks, then first till here we need to first proceed, then again continue the same method which I mentioned here, that considering it as p by q, squaring on both sides, and again method. So entire assumption, whole steps has to be written, and then we need to consider that as root 5 as root 2 is rational, as root 2 is irrational, then definitely our assumption is wrong, that is p by q is also, 6 plus root 2 is also irrational. So whatever the classes I am doing, I am making it a soft copy and attaching it as in my Telegram group, which I am keeping in description as well as in the comments. So if interested ones can join there and download the PDF. Let's catch up in the next exercise.